All right, Grandma got ran over by a reindeer, or as I like to call it, Grandma got ran over by a reindeer, and the family could care less. That's what this should have been titled. Why do I think that? Well, you'll see. So, Grandma got ran over by a reindeer. This TV hour-long special was made in 2000, so it's 25 years old, which doesn't feel like it. I thought it was like the 90s that this came out, but it is. They decided to make an hour-long TV special based on a song from the 70s that made very little sense. So they said, hey, let's take the song and actually write a movie based around it. You know, I'm surprised in 25 years we haven't gotten a Cotton Eye Joe TV special where it's like, hey, let's write a movie around that song. I probably shouldn't be giving them ideas, but moving on. So, okay. Now, the story of this one is you have this grandmother who with her family, and there's only one member of the family that actually cares about her, and it's her nephew Jake, who still is about like he's about to turn like into a teenager. He still believes in Santa Claus, even though his family is just like, okay, dude, maybe we should sit you down. And you can tell just based on this that they've tried sitting him down multiple times. That like, okay, dude, this is like the 12th time you've asked us that you've told us that Santa's real in the past hour. And you can kind of tell the family is getting a little sick and tired of it. But then Grandma gets hit by Santa, where, you know, yes, it's the reindeer, but when you watch this, it actually looks like a hit and run. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then the family is kind of like, well, she's gone. Oh, well. So they just like treat like this never happened, like this never existed, which I don't understand. And then it's up to Jake to not only find his grandmother, but to find Santa. Meanwhile, the family is just being assholes. And meanwhile, the, I guess, villain of this is Cousin Mel, who wants to sell Grandma's store because, you know, well, she sucks. So that's pretty much what this is. Now, you know, I'm just going to say this out loud. I'm just going to say this, but this is during animation, maybe like the 90s into the mid 2000s, where hand-drawn animation, you can say like, you know, hey, you're looking into this too much, you're an asshole. But go and watch like Disney's animated stuff from the 90s. Go and watch stuff like Goofy Movie or like Hercules. And all you have to have in this line of animation during this time, all or some women had, you know, I'm just going to say it, big butts and big butts. You know, you can say like, oh, you're looking at too much, but go watch, you know, hand-drawn animated films like Goofy Movie or Hercules or hell, even Space Jam with Lola Bunny. And, you know, that during that time, that's what they were doing. And you can probably tell like a lot of people are saying like, oh yeah, we only remember this movie because of her, which, you know, is sad. But also, this movie kind of sucks. It's not even really a movie, it's a TV special, but it sucks. The only thing I can really say is good about this is the animation, but even at times it looks a little like, ugh. And when during the time, like TV animation, like I think this was during the time when something like Justice League Unlimited, which the animation is nothing spectacular on that one. I still prefer the animation for Batman the Animated Series. But this is kind of when 2D animation was becoming more simplistic. It was becoming a lot more simpler, where, you know, back in like the 80s and early 90s, they, you spot like all the details and stuff like that. But with this, it's very just plain and simple. And yeah, the animation, while nothing to boast about, and actually may save this movie, it's it's fine. But the story is kind of like, all right, you took a song and you're turning it into an hour-long special, and something like this can be resolved in maybe 20 minutes, maybe. Kind of like something how like the animated Grinch movie or a Grinch special could have been, where that was like 20 minutes long, but it fit that format, and that's partially what made it work. With this one, they stretch it out and they just go, yeah, let's put in a subplot where Santa gets arrested. Let's put in a subplot where the grandma's store is about to get sold. Let's put in just really poorly done songs. Why? Because we need to stretch this out. And that's kind of an issue I have with a lot of, like animated TV stuff, is that I'm afraid that they're going to get just stretched out. They're going to take this simple little story that could be resolved in like 20 minutes, and they're just going to stretch that out into an hour. And this one definitely feels that way. It definitely feels padded. It definitely feels like, all right, you could have trimmed this halfway and it would have been fine. That's why something like Shrek the Halls surprisingly worked, is because they took that, which was very simple, and put it into half an hour. And it was like, they're not padding anything. They're not stretching this out. There's no unnecessary things that they're doing. And it surprisingly worked for the most part. This does not. Well, and a lot of it has to go to the fact that you don't like anybody in this movie, except, Grandma, you just feel bad for, because you can tell like her family's just mooching off of her and she's the only one who cares. But also, Jake, her nephew, he's just, he's just kind of getting the shit kicked out of him, like mentally, like he had a close relationship with his grandma, and everybody else is just kind of like, well, screw you, and just like basically like crushing his dreams. And so you just like, I hate everybody in this. And that's the brunt of the problem with this, is that, I don't, I could give the padding like a break, but it's just the fact that, okay, instead of a half hour of these people that I don't like, I have to spend an hour with these people I don't like. And you are clearly stretching this crap out. So it's like, oh, we get more time with these stupid people when we don't need to. Okay, I'm out. So, overall, characters I hate, story is very just bland. You don't like anybody. And maybe the only thing that'll save this thing is the animation, but even that's not very good. So, at the end of the day, this is just kind of a fine. I think the animation is what saved it from being terrible. But at the end of the day, I still see some people like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, are you serious? It's like, no, this is not very good, because I hate seeing family who are just mean to each other. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really like that movie Krampus. Is because I understand like the family's not supposed to be nice, but I feel like with that they could have been something where in the beginning they seem nice, but then Krampus shows up and then they start revealing like, oh, why he's here, like, oh, they were actually doing some very sleazy things. But I was like, I don't want to see this family survive. I don't care. Like, get rid of all of them. And this is kind of the same thing. So I'm like, I'm surprised that, I want to see an alternate ending to this movie where, Santa, takes Jake and Grandma to the North Pole and basically sends Krampus to go wreak havoc on the family, and then that's the end. I was just like, that's what I want to see, because you guys absolutely are just assholes. So hey, there's your idea for a sequel.